Some stories are louder than others, and few are as unforgettable as the story of Ozzy Osbourne, a working-class kid from Birmingham who found his voice in the darkness and used it to light a fire that changed music forever. This isn't just a tribute to a rock icon. It's a walk through the life of a man who fell, rose, and kept rising, who gave the world some of its heaviest sounds and most heartfelt moments. In this video, we'll journey through every era of Ozzy's remarkable career, from the birth of heavy metal with Black Sabbath to the pain and power of his solo work, through tragedy, triumph, reinvention, and even reality TV. We'll celebrate the voice, the legacy, and the soul of the Prince of Darkness. Join us as we honor one of the greatest to ever take the stage. This is Ozzy. Let's go back to where it all began. To the gray streets of Aston, Birmingham, a working-class town where factory smoke filled the skies, and a young man named Ozzy was dreaming of escape. He didn't have much. He struggled in school. He fought demons early on. But he had a voice, haunting, powerful, unforgettable. And when fate brought him together with Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward, the world would never sound the same again. 1969. Four young musicians walk into a studio with a vision that no one else could hear, yet. And what came out would change music forever. The world wasn't ready for the sound of doom, for the eerie tritone riffs, for the voice that felt like it came from another world. But Ozzy's haunting wail pierced through the noise. And when the first notes of Black Sabbath echoed out, a new genre was born. This was the beginning. On a cold Friday the 13th in 1970, Black Sabbath released their self-titled debut album. At its core was Ozzy Osbourne, with a voice that sounded like it was crying out from the underworld.
What is this that stands?
The opening track, Black Sabbath, set the tone immediately. Thunder, rain, and that spine-chilling riff in the tritone, the so-called Devil's Interval. Ozzy's voice floats above it all like a warning. Fragile, fierce, almost pleading. It was unlike anything anyone had heard before. The album was dark, raw, and unapologetically heavy. Songs like N.I.B., The Wizard, and Behind the Wall of Sleep combined blues roots with something far more sinister. And Ozzy, he wasn't just singing, he was channeling. There was pain in his voice, wonder, rage. A kind of broken beauty that made every lyric feel like a cry from the soul. Critics didn't understand it, but fans did. And over time, that debut album became sacred to generations of rock and metal lovers. This was no accident. This was the beginning of a legacy, and Ozzy Osbourne was its messenger. If their first album opened the gates of darkness, their second one kicked them wide open. Just 7 months after their debut, Black Sabbath returned with a new album, one that would take their raw, heavy sound and launch it into the stratosphere. Paranoid, an album that wasn't just bigger, it was braver. Ozzy's voice had never sounded more urgent, more unhinged, more alive. From the anti-war fury of War Pigs, to the paranoid spiraling of the title track, to the slow-burning dread of Iron Man, this was Sabbath, sharper and more focused. And Ozzy, he didn't just sing the words, he lived them. This was the album that made them legends. But even legends break. The success of Paranoid launched Black Sabbath into global stardom. But with it came pressure, excess, and the kind of fame that can eat you alive. Drugs, alcohol, internal tensions. They crept into the music, into the friendships, into the soul of the band. And at the center of it all was Ozzy. The frontman who once screamed into the void now found himself drowning in it. By 1979, after nearly a decade of dark magic and music history, the unthinkable happened. Ozzy Osbourne was fired from Black Sabbath. His brothers, his band, gone. And for Ozzy, it felt like the end. He later said, "I thought it was over. I thought I was going to die." When you lose everything, you either fade away or you fight for your life. But just when it seemed like the end, something extraordinary happened. Ozzy met a young guitar prodigy named Randy Rhoads, a quiet, disciplined, classically trained musician who played with a fire Ozzy hadn't heard in years. And in Randy, Ozzy found more than a guitarist. He found hope. In 1980, Ozzy rose from the ashes with a solo debut that shocked the world, Blizzard of Oz, an album that wasn't just a comeback, it was a declaration. With Crazy Train, he tore back onto the airwaves. With Mr. Crowley, he showed the world he hadn't lost his mystique, he'd evolved. Songs like Suicide Solution and Revelation, Mother Earth, showed a side of Ozzy we hadn't seen before. A man grappling with mortality, with pain, with the weight of existence. Ozzy was reborn. In 1982, just as the world was beginning to understand the magic of Blizzard of Oz, Randy Rhoads was gone, taken in a freak plane crash at just 25. It shattered Ozzy. He lost more than a bandmate. He lost a brother, a lifeline. With Diary of a Madman, Ozzy and Randy had already laid the foundation for a new kind of metal. Melodic, theatrical, and emotionally devastating. And through the rest of the 1980s, Ozzy carried that torch. With new musicians, new sounds, and a fire that refused to burn out. Bark at the Moon roared with energy, showcasing Jake E. Lee's blistering guitar work. The Ultimate Sin brought him to the MTV generation, turning the Prince of Darkness into a household name. And with Zakk Wylde joining the fold in the late 80s, Ozzy's sound became even more explosive. While other rock stars tried to fake darkness, Ozzy lived it and turned it into something beautiful, defiant, and loud. The 1980s were supposed to be his fall. Instead, they became his empire.
Times have changed and times are strange.
The 1990s arrived with a new world. Grunge was taking over, and rock was changing fast. Many legends from the 80s struggled to stay relevant, but Ozzy Osbourne was anything but predictable. He came back stronger, deeper, and more focused than ever.
The light in the window is a crack in the sky.
With No More Tears in 1991, Ozzy delivered some of his most memorable and powerful music. Songs like the title track, Mama, I'm Coming Home, and I Don't Want to Change the World became anthems for a new generation of fans.
'Cause Mama, Mama's coming.
Releasing Osmosis in 1995, he proved again that the Prince of Darkness could still captivate and surprise. Offstage, Ozzy showed fans another side. A devoted family man and, unexpectedly, a reality TV star with the Osbornes.
Meet the perfect American family.
Crazy. Hey, but that's how it goes.
By the early 2000s, Ozzy Osbourne was already a living legend, but the world was about to see a side of him they never expected. Not the wild frontman or metal icon, but the man behind the madness. In 2002, the Osbournes premiered on MTV, a reality show that followed Ozzy's everyday life with his family. Suddenly, millions saw the real Ozzy, a loving, goofy, sometimes grumpy dad, a husband struggling to keep his crazy clan together, and a survivor who, despite everything, kept his sense of humor and heart.
One gift, I'd get a smelly old sock, there's a few nuts in, a couple of pennies, an apple and an orange, and that was it.
The show was raw, unfiltered, and wildly popular. It introduced Ozzy to a whole new generation, not just as a rock star, but as a relatable, imperfect human being. Through the laughter, the chaos, and the occasional tears, the Osbournes showed that behind the wild stage persona was a man who loved fiercely and fought hard. A reminder that legends are people too. Ozzy Osbourne's story isn't just about music and mayhem. It's about family, survival, and finding light, even in the darkest places. And thanks to the Osbournes, the world fell in love with Ozzy all over again.
Who's the beer thief? You. You're the beer thief.
Even as the decades passed, Ozzy Osbourne refused to rest on his legacy alone. From 2010 onward, he continued to make music that surprised and inspired. In 2010, Scream marked his return with a modern metal edge, a reminder that Ozzy's voice still carried the power to shake stadiums. Songs like Let Me Hear You Scream showed he hadn't lost his touch for crafting anthems that ignite the crowd.
Let me hear you scream like you want it. Let me hear you yell like you mean. I was unprepared for fame.
Then Ordinary Man arrived in 2020, an album that was as much a reflection on mortality and legacy as it was a celebration of life. With collaborations featuring legends like Elton John, Post Malone, and Slash, Ozzy bridged generations and genres. Tracks like Ordinary Man and Under the Graveyard revealed a vulnerable side, showing a man who had seen the highs and lows, but still found strength in his music. Ozzy Osbourne's Back to the Beginning concert was a monumental farewell celebration that took fans on a journey through his extraordinary career. Held as part of his final world tour, the show was a powerful homage to his roots with Black Sabbath and his incredible solo legacy. The setlist was a perfect blend of iconic hits, featuring classics like War Pigs and Paranoid from his Sabbath days. Alongside solo anthems such as Crazy Train, Bark at the Moon, and the deeply emotional Mama, I'm Coming Home. Throughout the night, Ozzy's voice retained its haunting power, proving why he remains one of rock's most enduring voices. The concert was filled with heartfelt moments, from his sincere gratitude to the audience, visibly emotional as he reflected on his decades-long journey, to touching tributes to late bandmates like Randy Rhoads.
I just want to say to you on behalf of the guys in Black Sabbath and myself, that your support over the years, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love you, we love you.
Back to the Beginning wasn't just a goodbye. It was a testament to a legend who gave everything to rock and roll and left an indelible mark on generations to come.
Mama, I'm coming home.
Ozzy Osbourne's story is unlike any other. From the gritty streets of Birmingham to global superstardom, from the depths of darkness to triumphant rebirth, he has lived a life filled with chaos, pain, and unimaginable strength. He wasn't just the Prince of Darkness. He was a survivor, a pioneer, and a voice for those who felt lost or unheard. With every scream, every lyric, every wild moment on stage, Ozzy gave us a glimpse of the human spirit, flawed, fierce, and unbreakable. Ozzy showed us all that, even when the night seems darkest, there's always a spark of light, sometimes wild, sometimes fragile, but always burning. Thank you, Ozzy Osbourne, for the music, the madness, and the heart. Your story isn't just a chapter in rock history, it's a beacon for anyone who's ever dared to be themselves. Long live the Prince of Darkness.
'Cause my